What is up, family and friends? Welcome back to Yahweh's Aroma. And today we're going to be talking about the 24 elders in Revelation 4. Let's go ahead and let's hop right into it. Alright, so before we get into this lesson today, I just want y'all to know that this is my own personal belief. This is my own personal feelings that who I thought that the 24 elders were. I did my own research. I did a good solid 3 weeks worth of research, night and day. I kept looking at it. I kept seeing what other people were saying. And then I went back and researched what they seen, and I agreed and then I disagreed. So this is just my opinion, okay? So no comments down below hating on what I said. This is just my personal opinion of who I think that the 24 elders are. So hey, now that's out of the way, let's go ahead and let's get started. So here I have my notes and all the stuff that I went through, the stuff that I looked at, who I think they are, who I don't think that they are. So here are my notes to where I can keep on task. And I'm going to reference the Bible on every single one of these topics and these issues. Alright, so who are the 24 elders in Revelation chapter 4? So the number 24, what does that number mean in the Bible? It means a perfect government made manifest is what the 24 means in the Bible. What are some of the things that the number 24 is associated with in the Bible? I know this isn't in the Bible, but you have 24 elements to make up our human body. Not only that, but it talks about that there's 24 hours that are in a day. 24 carats that makes gold pure, like the crowns that we're going to discuss here in a little bit. And also, out of the 37 recorded miracles that Jesus done, there was 24 of them that were actual cures, where people were cured from their disease or their infirmities. So the number 24 is used throughout the whole Bible. So let's turn to Revelation chapter 4. I'm going to read a little bit of it. You can follow along if you have your Bible. If not, I'm going to try to put the scriptures right above my head. All right. So here we go. After this, I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. Now this is John. John is actually on the island of Patmos, and this is what's going on, and is giving him a vision, right? So the door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was as it were a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon a jasper or a sardine stone, and there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald. And round about the throne were 24 elders, or 24 seats. 24 seats. Upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. Again, these crowns, 24 carats, purity. Okay, let's remember that. Also, the white raiment is purity. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunders and voices, and there were 7 lamps of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God. And before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto a crystal, and in the midst of the throne and around about the throne there were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. And the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast was like a calf. The third beast had a face of a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. Alright. So, what were some of the characteristics that we spoke about in verse 4? It talks about how that they were sitting upon 24 seats. That word seats is also interchangeable with the word throne. If you go to Revelation chapter 5 verse 7, it talks about he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. The seats are interchangeable with the word throne. They were clothed in white raiment. We all know that when a woman gets married, she is wearing a white dress, especially if she is pure. She's going to wear a white dress that represents purity. And also, they had the crowns of gold that was on their head, like what we talked about before, 24 carats of gold, purity. They had the crowns of heads on the gold, but these crowns wasn't just any old normal crowns. These crowns were victorious crowns, the victor's crown. So what we're going to do is we're going to, just like the same ones that are in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 8. No, 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 6 and 8. It says, "For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord the righteous judge, and shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing." So now we're going to go to James chapter 1 verse 12. It talks about, "Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him." So here we go now. We've got one more scripture that we're going to go to, and it's in 1 Peter chapter 5 verses 4. Sorry, this is the way I keep up with everything. So 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 4, and it says, "And when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away." This is the same crown that they're talking about. This is the victor's crown. This is for the people that had lived on the earth, loved the Lord with all their heart and all their soul and all their might, and just loved the Lord, and they made it all the way to the end. They endured all the way to the end, and they are given a crown that doesn't fade away. So now that we know that there's 24 of them. They are sitting on thrones. They have white raiment. They have gold crowns. And what else do they do? It says in Revelation chapter 5 verse 10, it talks about how, "And they has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth." Now, kings and priests. So now they got all this other characteristics, but this one right here is like the biggest one. It's talking about the kings and priests, and this right here is the one that made me determine, okay, I'm going to go this route without going this way. I'm going to go to this route. So we'll get into that a little bit later on. So who do I think that they are not? So first, I don't believe that they are the believers. I don't think the 24 elders are the believers or the church. And the reason being is, if you turn to Revelation chapter 7, verses 13 and 14, it talks about, "And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence come they? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, These are they which came out of the great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb." So the 24 elders are mentioned before the church was raptured up. So if the church raptured up after the 24 elders, I don't believe that it was the believers or the church. I don't think that it was 24 members of that. So that's the verse that I looked at, and I was like, okay, I believe that right there is clearly that it's not believers. All right. So another one who I don't think that they are, I don't believe that the 24 elders are angels. And the reason why I say that is because if we turn back to Revelation chapter 5 verse 11, "And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne, and the beast, and the elders Did I say angels or elders? I can't remember if I said angels or elders. But let's read it again. And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne, and the beast, and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands. So you have that one. You have the angels that are separated from the beast, and then also separated from the elders. But here's a good one. If you go to Revelation chapter 7, verse 11, it says, and all the angels stood around about the throne, and about the elders and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces and worshiped God. If the 24 elders were angels, I don't think that all word would have been there. It would have been like some of the angels were around the throne, and some of the angels were sitting on the throne. So it clearly had a distinction right there. And that word all, to me, is showing like all the angels that are up there are around them, and then the elders are sitting in the throne. So those are the couple of scriptures that I used to say, okay, I don't think that it was the angels. So the next two are very compelling. Like, yeah, I was on that bandwagon, and I was like, you know what, I kind of do believe that it could have been these. And so I was like, all right, well, let me study, let me dig in, let me get in a little bit deeper. So if you go in there and you look, do I believe that they are actual humans that have lived on the earth that are up there now? And I say yes. I say that I do believe that it is. But there's a lot of people, and there was a couple people that I looked up and I was watching videos on, and they were trying to say that it can't be humans. And the reason why they say that it couldn't be humans is because they turn to John chapter 3, verse 13. And John chapter 3, verse 13, it says, and no man hath ascended up to heaven. That's okay. All right. Well, I can see where they were going with that, right? No man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. Okay, so if you ain't paying attention to that scripture, it can kind of throw you for a loop. But I'm going to break it down the way that I seen it, right? So the way I see it is, it's saying that no man has ever ascended up to heaven, right? And then came back down. It never said that no man has ever ascended up to heaven and then stayed up in heaven. It said no man has ever ascended up to heaven and then came back down other than Jesus. And that's the way that I interpret it. But if you still want to sit there and say, well, hey, where's there scriptures to say that there are men that are in heaven? Well, if we turn to Revelations chapter 5, and I know I'm going back and forth. Hopefully you can keep up with me. If not, you can go back and get the scriptures and stuff like that. Or I'll just leave all the scriptures that I put down in the description below. But in Revelation chapter 5, it says, and I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open this book and to loose the seals thereof? Verse 3, and no man in heaven, nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. So there was no man up in heaven, which means there was people there, and nobody could open that book. So no man in heaven can open the book. There's no man under the earth that can open the book. There's no man on the earth that can open this book. And that's why John started crying and stuff like that. But anyways, that's one of the scriptures that jumped out to me. I was like, hold up. It says right there, there was no man in heaven that can open that book. So Revelation, or John chapter 3, verse 13, to me, it still means, I could be wrong. I'm not a theologian. I could be wrong. But it's just saying that there's no man that has ascended up to heaven and then came back down. And I do believe that men have ascended up to heaven, because here the elder was trying to find somebody to open this book, and nobody can open the book. And then, as we all know, later on in the verses, Jesus Christ comes in, he grabs it, and he opens it up. All right, so let's go a little bit further. All right, So I don't believe that it was angels, and I don't believe that it was the believers of the church. Now, I just gave you the reason why I do believe that there are humans up in heaven with this. So here are the two sets of people that I kind of like juggled around in my hands, and I found a little bit of scriptures. I was like, okay, it kind of deterred me away from saying, okay, that was them. If you go, okay, so first we're going to look at the 12 sons of Jacob, and with the 12 tribes of Israel, and then also the 12 apostles of the New Testament. So you had 12 of the old, and then you got 12 in the new. Well, 12 plus 12 is 24, so there's your 24 right there. And I'm like, okay, well, that right there looks pretty good. And I started thinking about that. But then if you read through Revelations, you get to this point in Revelations chapter 21. It's kind of a little bit lengthy that I wrote down. Let's just read verses 9 through 14. And we are talking about the city of the New Jerusalem, right? So John's talking about the city of the New Jerusalem. And there came unto me of the 7 angels, which were the 7 vials, full of 7 last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee thy bride, and the Lamb's wife. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as a crystal. Now, and had walls great and high, and had 12 gates, and the 12 gates, 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the son of Israel. And on the east there was 3 gates, on the north there was 3 gates, on the south there was 3 gates, and on the west there were 3 gates. And the walls of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. So in Revelation chapter 21, it talks about how you had these gates, and they used the names of the people from the tribes of Israel. You have those 12 that are already used there, and then you also had the 12 apostles' names are written on the 12 foundations of this new kingdom that was coming down. So I believe that God used those men and put their names on here. I'm not saying that they don't, but I don't think that they would consider them to be the 24 elders, and then also they're going to be guarding the gates and the foundations. So I believe that the 12 apostles and the 12 tribes were used in making of the New Jerusalem, not for the 24 elders. Again, it's just my personal belief. You can look it up, and if I'm wrong, then you can say, hey, look, bro, you wrong. But anyways, let's keep it going. The last group of people that I don't believe who they are, which I've heard a couple of people say that they were, if we turn to 1 Chronicles chapter 24, verses 3 and 4. Here we are talking about the divisions of the son of Aaron, right? So David gets in there and he starts distributing these men. And so let me go ahead and start reading for you. We're in 1 Chronicles chapter 24. I'm going to start from verse 2. And forgive me about names, because I can barely even say my own name, much less try to say all these other people's names that I can't even spell them. So here we go. But Nadab and Abihu died before their father and had no children. Therefore Eleazar and Ithamar executed the priest's office. David distributed them both. And here it talks about Zadok, the sons of Eleazar, and Ahimelech, the son of Ithamar, according to their offices and their services. Now, and there were more chief men found from the son of Eleazar than in the sons of Ithamar. Thus there were divided. Among the sons of Eleazar there were 16 chief men, and out of the house of their fathers there were 8 sons among Ithamar, according to the house of their fathers. So if you take 16 men and then you take 8 men, that is 24 men. David is sitting here and he's dividing them up. And these people here are supposed to try to help him out, that these right here are setting up this right here is the first setup of priesthood. So David is like setting them up. There's 24 of them, and we're talking about priesthood. Now remember, one of the characteristics of the 24 elders is they're going to be kings and priests. So this one here hit harder than the other one where we had 12 tribes and then we also had 12 apostles. So this one here was a little bit rough for me. And I was like, man, okay, so they got to be kings and priests. Okay, well, this right here is the first setup when David separated them. And even though Eleazar had 16 sons and Ithamar only had 8, they actually cast lots. And then that's how they divided on how the work was. And then if you don't remember, I did a video about a year and a half ago about casting lots. Again, I'll leave that link down in the description. If you don't know what casting lots is, go back on that video and it'll tell you exactly what that is. But anyway, so they casted lots and they actually was able to separate the duties of each one of the people, and it actually came out to be equal, even though Eleazar had 16 sons. Alright. But why is the reason why I don't think that this right here is the case, that these 24 people right here are the ones that are going to be the 24 elders? Well, if you turn to Hebrews chapter 7 verse 11, it says here, if therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law, what further need was there for another priest should rise up after the order of Melchizedek and not be called after the order of Aaron? So somewhere in the middle of this priesthood, something went wrong, and it didn't turn out the way that God wanted it to be turned out. And that's whenever you get the order of Melchizedek. Melchizedek came in, and that right there was under the new order of the priesthood. So if there was something wrong with these 24 individuals, somewhere in the midst of it, I don't think that our God is going to be able to put these 24 people, and they're going to put them in the throne room. And here we go again. There's something wrong with them, and yet they're going to put them up there. I don't think that is. They're wearing white, they're wearing gold, which is everything that represents purity. So what's going on? So I think that it's not the 24 priesthood people that David separated. All right, so now I'm going to get into the one to where I do believe I'm putting more and more on it that I do believe that this is him. And if you read just a little bit further, we start talking about the musicians in chapter 25. If you go down to, let's just say in chapter 25, let's start reading from verse 1. Moreover, David and the captains of the host separated to the service of the sons of Asaph and Heman and Jeduthun. Again, I'm sorry with the names. Who should prophesy with harps and psalteries and with cymbals. And the number of the workmen according to the service was. The sons of Asaph had 4 sons. I'm not going to try to say their names, but Asaph had 4 sons. Jeduthun has 6 sons. And then you get to Heman, and he had 14 sons. But not only did he have 14 sons, but he also had 3 daughters. But the daughters' names were not mentioned in this right here. In this chapter here, the daughters' names were not mentioned. So you have 4, 6, 10 plus 14 is 24. So now you have 24 men that were picked for the musicians. Well, what was one of the things that they had to have back in Revelations chapter 5 verse 8? And when they had taken the book, the 4 beasts and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps. They had harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. If you come back here to the 25, chapter 1, 25, verse 1, sorry, 1 Chronicles chapter 25, verse 1, it said, David and the captains of the host separated to the service of the sons of Asaph and Heman and Jeduthun, who would prophesy with harps. So here we have the 24 men here that would have harps. And if you go to Revelations, the same 24 men also had harps. Not only did the 24 men in 1 Chronicles chapter 25 had harps, but they were also musicians. They also sing. Well, all the way through Revelations, the elders, the beasts, every single one of them, they all sing. They were singing unto the Lord. Holy, holy, holy. They were all singing, every single one of them. I forgot all the ones. I didn't write them down. But there was like 9 different places in here that I think I went to. And every single one of the elders were singing. They were singing a song. So I was like, okay. Well, you have 25, and then, or 1 Chronicles chapter 25, and it named off all these other ones here. And then if you go to, and I tell you what, I just started watching The Chosen, right? The Chosen is it's a free app that you can go get on your phone, and it's supposed to give you like these, a series of Jesus' life and how he picked out the disciples that he picked out. And it was so funny because I think it was in like episode 4 or 5. If you go to like the 8-minute mark, I'm sorry, but I can't remember what chapter it is. I thought I wrote it down. Peter's asking everybody, hey, how did Jesus? Where did Jesus pick you up out of? And one of the guys was like, hey, I was about to join the 288, and I've already seen this episode like 2 or 3 times, and it never dawned on me what he meant by the 288, which I think is a really good name for like a music group or something like that. It's like, hey man, who are you? I'm a part of the 288. But anyways, if you go down to 1 Chronicles chapter 25, it talks about in verse 6, all these were under the hands of the Father for song in the house of the Lord, with cymbals, psalteries, and harps for the service of the house of the God, according to the king's order to Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun. So the number of them with their brethren that were instructed in the songs of the Lord, even that were cunning, was 268. So there's your 288 right there. So again, I don't know, that right there is just, to me, that was just saying, hey, look, Mike, you're on the right track, dog. So I was like, hey, all right. So anyways, I do believe that the 24 elders were the 24 musicians. But hold up, we have to talk about one of the other characteristics, the kings and the priests. So what are we supposed to do about that, right? So on the kings and the priest side, I was like, man, how are they going to be kings and priests? Well, if you go back to the Old Testament, and if you go into the holies of holies, right? Well, who were the ones, what tribe did you have to come from in order to be the holies of holies? You had to be from the tribe of Levi. So you had to be a Levite in order to be the high priest, right? Every single one of the 24 elders or every single one of the 24 musicians that I found, they came from the tribe of Levi. And to me, I was like, okay, wow, that right there kind of summed it up right there for the kings and priests. So what are some of the responsibilities for the Levites, right? So the Levites, they were musicians as well. I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't even really know that. But anyway, so the Levites, they were musicians, they were gatekeepers, they were guardians, they were temple officials, they were also judges, and also builders. So some of the same responsibilities that the Levites had to have, they also correlate with the elders that are in in Revelations. You gotta think, the Levites, the only ones that enter into the holies of holies, and now here we go with the Levites, and they're entering into the throne room. This is just me. I just did my research. I am telling you who I think the 24 elders are. I think that the 24 elders are the 24 musicians that David picked out back in 1 Chronicles chapter 25. Again, you can do your own research. Please do your own research, and if you find something else out, leave it down in the comments below. I would love to look at it. I would love to see it. I love creation. I love talking about like the giants and the Nephilim and stuff like that. There's just a bunch of things that I really like talking about. And when somebody mentioned the 24 elders to me, I was like, what 24 elders? I totally thought that they were talking about something totally different. And I was like, what? And so I went home and I read that scripture in Revelations chapter 4. And it blew my mind, because out of all the stuff that I have looked at in this Bible, I have never remembered coming across the 24 elders and actually paying attention to it. So that goes to show you, it doesn't matter how many times that you read this Bible. It doesn't matter how many times you have studied this Bible. God always shows you more and more stuff. Anyways, keep seeking the Lord out. Read His Word. Let Him speak to you. And hey, if you like this, hey, hit that thumbs up button for me. Hey, subscribe also. I know we was trying to hit 100 subs before the end of March, and we're still at 84. But hey, that's fine. And you're not even going to get this video until probably the first or second week of April. But anyways, make sure you like, you subscribe. Again, leave a comment down below. Hey, and share it with somebody. Say, hey, do you know who the 24 elders are? Hey, check this out. Maybe this right here can help you out. But anyways, I'll catch you on the flip side.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Thumbs up. What you say? Thumbs up button. Comment down below. Comment down below.
And we're going to catch y'all
on the flip